So I have the distinct honor of introducing both of our keynote speakers, and I've had the honor of working with both of these individuals during my tenure as president. To begin with, I'm pleased to introduce our first keynote speaker, Dr. Ed Schweitzer. Dr. Ed Schweitzer is recognized as a pioneer in the digital protection and holds the grade of Fellow in the IEEE, a title bestowed on less than 1% of IEEE members worldwide. In 2002, he was elected as a member of the National Academy of Engineering. Dr. Schweitzer received the 2012 Medal in Power Engineering, the highest award given by IEEE, for his leadership in revolutionizing the performance of electrical power systems with computer-based protection and control equipment. In 2019, Dr. Schweitzer was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame for his invention of the first digital protective relay. Dr. Schweitzer has been honored by several institutions. He's a recipient of the Regents Distinguished Alumnus Award and Graduate Alumni Achievement Award from Washington State University and the Purdue University Outstanding Electrical and Computer Engineer Award. He's also been awarded honorary doctorates from several institutions, both domestically and abroad. He's written dozens of technical papers in the areas of digital relay design and reliability. He holds more than 200 patents on electric power system protection, metering, monitoring, and control worldwide. Dr. Schweitzer received his bachelor's and master's degrees in electrical engineering from Purdue University and his doctorate from Washington State University. He served on the electrical engineering faculties of Ohio University and WSU. In 1982, he founded Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories Incorporated to develop and manufacture digital protective relays and related products and services. Everybody in this room who's ever had a conversation with Ed knows that he's going to talk about first principles, he's going to talk about creativity, he's going to talk about doing things differently, being more efficient, and making sure that we have a free market economy where everybody in the U.S. can thrive and economically grow. I appreciate everything that Ed and Beatrice have continued to do for WSU, for the Pullman community, for the electrical engineering community, and the world at large. So with that, Ed, please come on up. Look forward to hearing from you.
Kirk, you're right. You can work on your tan with the lights up here. I'm so glad, Kirk, that you began by reminding us of our land grant roots. And there's over 100 land grant institutions in the United States. Abraham Lincoln, President Lincoln, established the land grant institutions because he was concerned that he was kind of thinking along the lines of the early days of our country, you know, with guys like Jefferson, who realized how important education is. And one of the things he was so concerned about is that education could become elitist. And so he established the land grant institutions, science, agriculture, technology, just as President Schultz described it. Topical, needed, timely, local, with a vision of the whole world in mind. All these years later, we're blessed that Abraham Lincoln decided to establish the land grant system. We're further blessed that we got the university and Walla Walla got the prison. Kirk mentioned, thank you, I write my own jokes, I appreciate it, you know. Okay, that's it. And Kirk said something about a talk about, you know, economic and political freedom and how important that is. You know, we're the only country in the world who's, I should have worn a visor. Yeah. The only country in the world that begins with we the people and doesn't begin with the government lets you do this and that and you shall do this and that. It's the other way around. So the beautiful thing about the land grant institutions, about what we learn as students and what our professors need to focus on is unleashing that spirit of creativity. Thank you for that one too, Kirk. And out of that spirit of creativity, we have no idea what can emerge. Wheat, with new varieties that increase productivity from 30 to 50 to 100 acres. I went to Purdue, there was corn. They invented hybrid corn. So 2 schools I've been involved in, corn and wheat, the 2 critical ingredients for making the 2 kinds of tortillas, right, Beatrice? There we go. And it would not be correct to go any farther without saying Happy Independence Day and Viva Mexico. Contrary to the beer ads, Cinco de Mayo is not Independence Day. It's the 15th of September. I'm excited to hear about all the developments that Kirk talked about with the investments that the regions approved today. Topical, needed, timely. You know, there's so many things that we're doing that our moms would be real glad that we are doing. I knew A.L. Betts, I know Glenn Hauer, the 2 guys who established the Power Professorship program. And these guys probably did it on a camping trip when they were hiking somewhere that, because they had, there was a safe in Carpenter Hall, and you might have thought they kept the lesson plans or something, but no, it was the maps. Isn't that right? The Flexive girls are laughing like crazy because they knew that, and these guys would go out hiking in the mountains and try to avoid getting eaten by the bears and so forth. So they had this idea. They went around and talked to a number of utilities. And you heard about that earlier. Manny Venkata Subramanian did such an excellent introduction. And by the way, who here can spell Manny's last name? I can. Ready? V-E-N-K-A-T-A-S-U-B-R-A-M-A-N-I-A-N. Right? Okay, there we go. You know, it seems like engineering is a career where you got to have long, difficult names. Subramanian, Schweitzer, Flexic, Sabia. So you kind of wonder how the hell A.L. Betts got involved in the whole thing. But he did. So Betts and Glenn Hauer had this idea. They talked to a number of utilities and said, you know what? If you give us a little bit more of a hand, we'll be able to, you know, sort of aim more students towards your interests in industry, something right in line with the Power Professorship program. So in my first job out of school was working for the National Security Agency. And there I was doing it's all gotten redacted. So in any case, I really didn't want to use the rest of my life figuring out what other people were doing. So I went to a small company, and that's what they were doing too. Talked to my dad one day and said, you know, I'm not so happy doing this. It was in Sunnyvale, California. And my dad said, go back to school. And this is from a guy who never completed college and had over 100 patents himself. So I said, shoot, that's an idea. I only thought a school was something that looked good in the rear view mirror of your car. I thought that would get a better chuckle, but I'll work on that one. That's my problem, not yours. So I went down to the Sunnyvale Public Library and started looking through the college catalogs of the schools, mainly in the West. I was in California. I wasn't all that happy in California. Thought, man, the Northwest, that's so cool. And my little sister thought about going to school up here somewhere, and I thought, man, maybe I ought to do that. So I got the catalogs out and sat them out on a table, because this was all BC, you know, before computer. By the way, computers, I'm not sure if it was banking or the electric power companies that were the first large users of powerful computers after the spooks. So I went through these catalogs and applied to 3 different schools, WSU being one of them. You know, sent my letters in and so forth. It was before, what's that thing now called, that nationalized form that you all have to figure out, your kids have to figure out? ASFAB, or I don't know what it's called. It's got some 4, 5, 6, 8 letter acronym. But in any case, all I had to do is fill something out in paper, send it in. Huh? Was that it? ASFAB? FASFA. You know, we could all have a lot of fun for the rest of the night making up what we think that FASFA really stands for. So anyhow, I sent this in with a self-addressed stamped return envelope and waited. And then one day my phone rang at my desk in Sunnyvale. Picked up the phone and said, "Ed Schweitzer," and his voice boomed. "What's this latent interest in electric power?" So that was Cliff Mosier, the guy that A.L. Betts and Glenn Hauer had hired to lead the Power Professorship program. Mosier came from Drexel University, and he's the only person I've ever met who knew my idol, Edith Clark. Anybody know who Edith Clark was? There's about 14 hands out of 190 people. That's good. Edith Clark. So she started her career as an actuary, worked with General Electric, and did a lot on figuring out how transmission lines really work. The math behind it, the physics behind it, the miracle behind it. Because we are the only industry that moves its commodity, electric power. We move it at the speed of light. Everybody gets so excited about the internet. The fastest it can go is 0.6 C. That'd be like, instead of my car goes 60 and yours gets to go 36. I win. Okay? So here we are. Dumb conductors are the smartest thing ever. There's no amount of silicon or anything else that will ever beat that. So we go all the way back to electromagnetics, Glenn Hauer's area of expertise. Electromagnetics. Go back to first principles. Guess what we're using today in order to make the fastest protective relays on the planet? Electromagnetics. Traveling waves. Yes, Shira, go, electromagnetics. Yeah, the 4 equations. Maxwell's equations. And guess what he was? He was really a mathematician, son of so he put to the music of math the work of people like Michael Faraday. And what did Faraday do? He was the caste system. I'm going to go too far off on that stuff. We'll skip all that. I get too excited about it. Mosier. We heard so much tonight from people who founded the Power Professorship program. Okay, so after that call, I was accepted here. One of the few mistakes WSU's ever made. I came here as a graduate student, and it was a beautiful thing, the Power Professorship program, the largesse of the area utilities, which fits hand in hand with the land grant mission, enabled me to go to school with a tuition waiver, thank you, and a small stipend. So I quit a pretty good paying job in the Bay Area, doing stuff I didn't want to do, came up here to do this. So my salary went from this to this. So the government has its ways of rewarding things like this. So one day I was at home here in Pullman as a grad student, the phone rang, and hi, this is Bill Smith from the IRS. We're auditing you. And I said, what for? And he said, well, your salary went, your income went way down, and so did your tax. So I said, oh, I'm a graduate student now. And he said, oh, that explains everything. Thank you, goodbye. That's when you used to call the IRS or could talk to them. And that was in an era of sort of BC. Bill Deering. Glenn Howard, he was my neighbor. Later on when I was a professor. I wanted to come back here. After I graduated, I did teach school in Ohio for 2 years and loved teaching. And today we say selling is teaching. And you get back to the first principle still when you're selling things. It's such an exciting thing to see people's lights go on, connecting with the technology, with the ideas. How can I be of assistance? Professors light up that excitement in students. Don's here, Don Kopsiski, and of course Washington Water Power, oops. Avista keeps our lights on every day, thank you. However, I'd like to remind our Avista folks that we're buying more electricity than you are buying relays, so we always want to talk about that. There ought to be some kind of, the balance of trade here is a little off, so. And we can't use more of your product because that wouldn't be green. Steve and I have been having a lot of fun talking at dinner. Hanjan Bose, Bob Olson, his background in electromagnetics. Going back to Professor Sabia, his two sons are here tonight. Steve's widow is here with them. Steve worked for us in his last part of his career. What a wonderful family, a family over the back fence. One night I went to dinner at the Sabias when I was a grad student. There was 21 people around your dad and mom's dinner table speaking. I counted them. There were 7 different languages. There was, first and foremost, Hungarian. There was a little English, German, French. I forgot what the other 3 were. And it was like that every time I went over there. What a wonderful community. Your dad, John Sabia, he hosted something, well, it was his idea, we don't have to pay our own way, called Fluids Lab. And this didn't have anything to do with a mechanical engineering activity, but it had to do more with RICOs. So that was once a week, and your dad and mom would show up down there, and we had a lot of fun doing that. Wonderful professors, Chin Su. So I was at Carpenter Hall as a professor. Chin Su he was a controls guy, and he would come over to my office after class, after he taught his class, and just plop down in there and light up a cigarette. So I wasn't all that keen on that, but okay, it was Chin Su, and we were friends, and he was funny as hell. And he said, hi Ed, I finished my lecture. I said, well, how'd it go? And he said, well, at the end of class, I asked students, same question. And one of my students says, I have trouble understanding your English. I tell student, you take English 101. Okay, well, I think this is fabulous to think about 50 years of the Power Professorship Program. The vision, the genius of A.L. Betts, Glenn Hauer, Al Flexick, John Sabia, Cliff Mosier, Glenn Hauer, and so many people who have supported that vision for 50 years. Without their vision, your support, SEL would never have been born. Thank you very much.